welcome back, everybody, to The Peak, where we get straight to the top of the conversation. This episode is brought to you by GoDoovies and G Fuel. Make sure you use code DONFATHER there in order to get access to those amazing discounts. Tonight, we're with an artist who's built an entire world from his EP, Casa Familia, to his brand, The Don's Club. He's defining his own lane with the sound and style he calls the Don's Way. You've heard him through the music and you've seen the work that he puts in. Let's not waste any time getting right to the top. Please welcome our guest, the man himself, AB, the Don Dada. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I want to say thank you for having me on here. So it's an honor and a blessing, especially to be able to finally get my name and my face out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure. What a better place for you to show off the Don's Way than on a podcast by Don Father. And so we're here to definitely make it happen. Your profile, jumping into the music, highlights your EP like Casa Familia Volume 1 and 2 and tracks like Mastermind. Can you walk us through the evolution of your sound from your first release to your newest single? And what story are you trying to portray through the overall AB the Don Dada musical projects?
So, believe it or not, where this all started, I was actually in Texas at a training segment for my current job, and my cousin, Jello Tweakin, or now Jello Spaz out after some complications with legality and all that stuff, we decided to pursue something together. And that's also when I started the Dons Club movement with the t-shirts and all that. And we were looking to develop something that in not only just inspires people to put themselves out there and accomplish their goals, but we also wanted to create something that, well, we wanted to bring our culture into it per se. Being we are Italians from New York. um the whole thing with Italians in New York, you get the first thing you think of is mafia, and the leader of that so-called group would be the Don. And I'm not one to brag, I'm a human being like everybody else. I'm just like everybody else. I go to work every day, do this, that, and the third, just like everybody else. But people look up to me to make the decisions. So that's where the name the Don came from. And I've always had what's the word I'm looking for? A thing. I'm gonna use that word, like a thing with old school hip hop, Biggie, Nas, Tupac, Capital Steez, Joey Badass, like Eminem. Those were like my idols growing up. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like my sound is so much better with like an old school boom bap hip hop type of beat than I would be on like some new school shit. Excuse my French, like Destroy Lonely type of beat or Yeet type of beat, such as my cousin does. That's not really my sound. And it wasn't until I started freestyling in the basement with my boys and my cousins, and that's when I really found my sound when it came to the old school. And I pursued that, and I started to just record stupid little samples here and there, and just try and fluctuate with different types of beats. And it got to the point where I was like, I low-key, I could do this. Like this really isn't that hard. And I kind of just put my mind to it. Sat there, I doubled down when I was in Texas, and we recorded my first single, which was Seven Mac 11s. Unfortunately, we had to take it down after there was a complication with the DistroKid account on my cousin's side, which deleted everything. And now we're working on trying to take Seven Mac 11s and New York to Texas, re-release it somehow, but we got to figure all that stuff out, and that's time being. And I believe that those two songs built the foundation for now, for me bringing out different sounds, such as my cousin Mike Machiavelli. He's getting new into the producing. He's been making a lot of my beats. He made the Captain Donzi beat, and that was one of the most unique sounds that I've heard. And at first I was like, yo, how am I gonna even spit on this? Like this is like I don't even know what to say on this. And I was listening to Black Petunia by Capital Steez, and I was like, well, this beat is kind of hard to spit on, just like this one is. And if he could find a way, I could find a way. And I kind of just started playing around with words, seeing what fit best to promote. But I believe I like to speak controversially in my music. I believe that I can get a message across without necessarily speaking the message. Um, and that's kind of where my basis stands. I'll speak upon global issues or issues within the communities, such as like my hometown. Like there's a lot of drugs and violence going around. Hi, mamas, my dog. um, and I was kind of sneak that in there and say something about it, but people won't really get it at first. And then once they start really listening to it and not just like, oh, okay, he said this, that, and whatever, you really sit there and listen to some of the words I say, you'll understand, like, yo, he's kind of spitting.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think.
Yeah, I think that when people, think about the art of sneak diss, and it's always in a negative light against maybe another person, but in this light, you're kind of just sneak dissing these negative things about the world. And that's kind of very similar to what a Don does, in the mafia. They are going to be talking down on things that are hurting their community, maybe not even saying the direct word, but talking in code. So it definitely makes sense. I'm happy that you're able to put your culture at the forefront and even behind the music, and then still find the confidence that you do in order to speak the way you do about it. And so the name AB, the Don Dada, and your brand's tagline, embrace your inner Italian, it's the Don's way, suggests a strong influence from that culture, which you just talked to us about. How does that heritage and the concept of the Don influence your lyricism, your production?
That I'm gonna have to say that's a good question. That's one question I really haven't thought too much into, due to the fact like I really didn't even think about it like that. Um, and to be honest, I believe that being Italian, being my culture, and growing up in a place where it's mostly Italians in the neighborhood and being surrounded by nothing but like family. Family is our number one thing.
Yeah, I understand that.
That's hence Casa Familia, um, which is obviously the mixtape with my family. Like, we built that as us. That's what we wanted to start. But I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know how to answer that question right now. Um, I kind of just, I didn't really think about it like that.
Do you feel like that's something you lean more into? Like, do you ever feel like you might do a music video or a whole project where you're kind of portraying exactly being a Don in a mafia?
Believe it or not, yeah. When I was back in New York, we were trying to plan on something in Manhattan. Unfortunately, we just never got around to it. I felt ill. I had some upper respiratory infection. We just never got to do it, which was very disappointing because I brought all the I was gonna shoot it myself. We were gonna do a point of view video, and I was gonna hook up like a camera to my head, and we were gonna go around Manhattan in like blacked out cars, escorts, and try and create this whole picture, like a day in the life type of thing. But it would be also something that we would do on a daily basis, like go here, go do this, do that, do that. Like,
Right.
there's a lot of running around. But that's definitely something we're planning on doing in the future. Hopefully by January, February, we'll have something like that coming around
Yeah, I think that's
when
definitely a
I
really
start
good idea.
sneaking something that I'm working on.
Yeah, and so between the music and your brand, which you're wearing right now, the Don's Club, was that brand a natural extension of the music, or did the two concepts develop simultaneously? Like, which one came first?
So actually, the Don's Club came
Hmm.
first. This was unfortunately a failed project that I wanted to start. I was trying to get into the clothing business before I got into the music business, and I was like, "Fuck it, why not?" I printed a simplistic design because I didn't know how it was gonna unfold. I didn't want to lose money, but I also wanted to gain something out of it, which I did, just not what I expected. So we made this just a simple Don's Club across the chest, nice, comfortable, tight T-shirt. Um, and I wish it popped off the way I imagined it to, but unfortunately, the design was too simple, and not a lot of people were feeding into it. They wanted more details. They wanted something on the back. They wanted something else on the front, and we're trying to figure out a bunch of different things right now to correlate with the music. But right now, it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I
And
feel
that
like,
is
you're still a young man. It's always a work in progress. I feel like that's where the world building and visual branding comes into play. So beyond the clothing, the aesthetics on your posts, they feature the cars, the specific fashion choices when it comes to the simplistic clothing and such, a certain lifestyle that kind of reflects the Don's way. How important is visual branding and world building to you as an artist? Building a space where they can get lost in. That's what they're yearning for. And so is that something that you've been focusing on lately?
I would say, yeah. Music is definitely the one thing I've been focusing on a lot. Um, you know, I'm not gonna be in the industry I am my whole life. There's no way that's happening. I won't allow myself to. I'm gonna keep pushing myself until I either make it or I break. You know, whether I make it or I don't, I'm still gonna keep trying no matter what. That's just how I am. Um, other people's opinions, they're not gonna tear me down. I really don't care enough, to be honest with you. If somebody doesn't like me, okay, big whoop. I don't care. If you're there to support me, God bless. Thank you for the support. Um, and yeah, and as for the fashion and the cars and the clothing, that's always been a big part of my life. My father taught me from a very young age, your how you dress, how you speak, how you act out in public, that's somebody's representation of you. You come about respectful, you come about you dress respectfully depending on where you're at, or you talk with you manners, being polite, all that. It all comes into play. I believe that's a very important aspect that everybody should have in order to do something with yourself in life, because you don't have the respect not only just for yourself but for other people. You don't dress the way you should when you go, like, let's say to I don't know, like a corporate event or something. You would dress in a suit and tie. You go to a wedding, you dress in a suit and tie. You go to the club, throw on a nice button down, some jeans, some fresh Jordans. You're good.
There's a time and a
You
place for
you
that type of
talk.
stuff. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, 110%.
Yeah, and so let's move into people who have supported you in the way that you came up, being yourself, featured artists in your collaborations like Jello Spaz Out. Did I say that correctly? Is it Jello or is it Gilo? Jello,
Yeah.
great. So Jello
Nah, it's
Spaz Out.
jealous Spazzo.
How
Yeah,
do you know that person?
he's my cousin. He's actually my younger cousin on my mother's side, and we actually didn't find out we were related until we were in high school, and we only found that out because my mom's uncle Freddie, my uncle as well, is technically his uncle because my aunt. It's weird, like my because he married my aunt. Secondly, he's like I guess his second marriage. I'm not really too sure, to be completely honest with
Hmm.
you. It's not my business to understand. I just know that that's my aunt. And I treat her like I love her to
Right.
death. She's awesome. That's her nephew, and we went to the same high school actually. And he comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, you're my cousin, right?" I was like, "What you mean I'm your cousin? Like, I never talked to you a day in my life."
Good high school. That's classic high school stuff right there. Like this guy's talking crazy to me right
It really
now.
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that's cool that you are able to collaborate with your cousin in that way. How do you approach choosing collaborators, and what is the most valuable lesson that you've learned when working with other artists?
I would say I need to hear their music. I need to know who they are as a person as well. If I don't like them as a person, I'm not gonna reach out to them.
Mhm.
Because if you bring negative energy towards me, I don't want that nowhere near me. I'm about the positivity. I want to spread positivity. I want to keep the positivity. I had a lot of negativity around me at certain times, and I'm past that. Growing up, all I wanted to do was have a good mindset, which is that's exactly why I am where I am right now. Because my mindset went from being so negative and hanging around all this negativity and bad aura to being a go-getter, someone who actually wants to work towards something and not just sit in my bedroom and smoke and watch Pornhub all day.
Yeah, unrelatable. I don't relate, but yeah, I understand. I understand. And so, relating to the music and that drive, when you sit down to create a new track, what is your typical creative process? Walk us through how that works for you.
So the track never gets created in one day. Just like Rome wasn't built in a day, my tracks don't get created in one day. I need to find a specific beat that I like, and I'm gonna sit there, listen to that beat for at least 3 days. And during those 3 days, I'm gonna freestyle, constantly freestyle, 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 freestyle. No matter where I am, no matter what time it is, sit there, listen, freestyle. And then the course of the next couple of days, I'm gonna start writing. And then after I start writing and I have a bunch of lyrics written down, I'm gonna record it. And I'm gonna see what sounds better where. And until I find the perfect flow and the perfect sound, that's when I actually go into the actual recording process, the mixing and the mastering, and then so on and so forth. Whereas before, I just went straight into it. I wasn't thinking. I didn't care enough to do a draft version of it. I didn't care enough to, just sit there and think about the lyrics. Whereas now, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I understand how, really taking the time to take it slow with the music creates a better product for you, especially when it comes to the part where you said you're listening to the beat for multiple days, and then you may freestyle for multiple days. When you're doing that freestyle, you might come up with one good thing, but now here's seven really good things, and now you have a really amazing song because it has multiple moments that are just like, oh, that was a really good bar. And it's because it takes time to come up with those things. I think more people need to take time when it comes to making their music. And talking about time, when it comes to the Don's Club, what is the ultimate goal for the Don's Club in the future, the music and the brand? Are there any specific milestones that you're aiming for?
Of course. So you mentioning that brings me to open up what we've been working on and what we are hoping to launch very soon, which would be the actual branding. Don's Club was going to be rebranded, and we're planning on doing a whole, like, kind of like Pro Era, how they have that. We're doing our own thing, where it's going to be me, Machiavelli, and Jello Spaz out doing our own clothing line as well as like a music group type of thing. And we're going to combine that into one and promote, I guess, our sounds through the clothing, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, shorts, jackets, you name it, we're gonna have it. And that's gonna go hand in hand with the music in some sort of way. We're just still trying to figure all that out, but it is coming very soon.
Yeah, I think that that's really dope. And what I like about that is how it's kind of a, and this is maybe not the right word to use for it, but it's revenge, for the way that the brand went for you in the past. So what are you going to do differently now?
I'm probably gonna add more designs now,
Yeah.
definitely. Not keep it as simple as this. And I'm also gonna have more options. All I had was one option, just a plain black T-shirt with the white. We're gonna do white and black. We're gonna do a little bit of blue, a little bit of red. Um, I would say Mike's colors are around, blue and purple. So we're gonna incorporate that with his versions. Jello's is a lot of red, black, yellow, blue, all these different colors he likes. So we're gonna incorporate a lot of that as well. for each artist individually, as well as combining everything else into one.
Yeah, I think that's really dope in order to kind of take the colors and separate them for the different collections by different people. I don't really think I've seen anything like that, particularly where the colors is what is really the difference. Maybe you have the same style jacket, but this particular colorway only shows up in, Jello's, collection, or vice versa with Mike.
Yeah.
And so moving into, being selective, let's talk about the music again. If you had to pick only one song from your catalog that you feel most accurately describes your current state of mind, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. That is a great question. Phew. I would have to say that's between Resurrection 47 and Captain Donzi. And I say that because I have a verse in Captain Don. Well, I wouldn't say a verse. I would say a bar where it's next up to the throne on the air from the dome, talking about Rome, Italy, all that stuff. That's where that reference comes in. And in Resurrection 47, talking about what happened when I was in New York, getting arrested, going through the court process, and pushing myself to be a better person after that, but also still having that anger inside of me, knowing that it was probably my fault that all that happened. I'm not even saying, I shouldn't say probably, I should say it definitely was my fault. But I would use those two songs for those reasons.
Yeah, and so based on those lessons that you learned from those two songs, what's one thing that you would share to someone that's younger than you that may be walking down that path right now?
Get your life together. Don't be stupid. Follow the law because it will bite you in the ass at the end of the day. Take it from me. It happened to me.
No, I think that that's a great piece of advice for anyone that's walking down the wrong path. I do feel like there's passions that you can kind of focus your attention to. I think AB the Don Dada gives us a great example of someone who maybe used to be into trouble in that way, but is putting the energy that he had there into the resurgence of his clothing brand, into the music that he has coming out. So I think that's a very important lesson for everyone to write down and put in your notebooks. And so I want to get them a bit more related to you as a person. What is a non-music fun fact about yourself that the audience may not know anything about, you can't find on your Instagram, that lets them know you a little more?
I would say, hmm, believe it or not, I am a huge science and history nerd. I love that shit. And I'm also a big Halo geek. I love Halo. I love Call of Duty, video games. That was like my shit growing up. I love that.
No, that's dope. I do a bit of Twitch streaming myself. Have you ever thought of, using, the gaming in order to go live and then gain fans that way, or maybe record music live on these live stream platforms?
I've thought about it, yeah. I actually used to do Twitch streaming when I was like 14 years old. I would stream Fortnite with the boys. But as of recently, I've been thinking about it a lot more now that I finally got my PS5 to work. I haven't been able to get it to work for the longest time. I actually sent it out to Sony to get repaired. So hopefully I can get that up and running again and get the Twitch going that. And I might start doing some racing simulations with my PC with the Assetto Corsa. Try and get that going as well. Do like I don't know, like some freestyles along with that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because those type of things will help you build that community. Your dog's being
Oh yeah,
doggy again, huh?
110. I'm sorry, my
No,
dog
you're
is.
good.
Yeah, she is tearing up my fucking modem right now. Yo, hey!
And we need that modem to keep the interview going. Hold
I
on.
apologize.
No, no,
Yeah,
it's good.
definitely.
It's good. It's good. I do just want to say thank you for coming through to talk to us because overall, I did get a lot of insight as to things that you might not find on your Instagram. When it comes to the things about your old brand, those things we're not going to know by just looking at the Instagram. And it gives us a lot of, it kind of puts us in your corner. when we hear you have a new clothing brand coming out, when we hear all the work you guys are putting into making it better, making it unique, those things are gonna definitely help people navigate towards the brand in the future. Is there anyone that you want to shout out besides, of course, Mike and Jello, the homies?
Yeah, actually, I would like to shout out my parents, my sister, my whole family. Actually, I wouldn't be in the position I am today without them. Ones that pushed me to achieve my goals and to keep working, even when I thought that, excuse me, even when I thought that I was done for. I was at rock bottom. They're the ones that picked me up and it was like, "No, you got to keep going. You got a job to do." So definitely shout out to my family. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I don't even know if I would be alive right now. Um, Shout out, obviously, Jello, Mike. You know, love you guys. I want to say thank you for everything y'all have done for me, helped me with. Uh, New music coming soon.
Let's go, let's go. You guys heard it here first from AB, the Don Dada. Make sure you guys go on all platforms and follow the boy. You can also listen to the music as well. It's out right now. When can we expect a new piece of music?
Very soon, actually. Me and my boy A5. He's another artist. He's not really out there as much. He hasn't put his music out there like that. But I'm trying to get him to because he's not bad. I want him to explore his sound and start putting it out there. So me and him are actually working on a collab right now where the demo name for it is called Young Shady because it's kind of on an Eminem beat, and the way it goes is it starts off a little dark, goes into his life growing up in Brooklyn, and then it goes into a lot of other stuff. It should be coming out pretty soon. We have to mix and master it still, and we might re-record it. It's still in the demo version. Um, I would say expect that in at least a month and a half, 2 months. That'll be out.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear. We're going to follow you on those musical platforms right now. We do want to say thank you for coming through, AB, the Don Dada, and sitting down with us to speak again. And we will, of course, have you back. I tell everyone at the end of these amazing interviews that we are going to be tapping back in with you, and we'll be having you sit down, free, of course, to kind of give us an update on what's going on based on the things that we've talked about today, like the clothing brand and the new music coming out. And maybe even then we can have some of the homies tap in as well. Maybe Mike joins us or maybe Jello joins us in order to
Yeah,
kind of give their
they
perspective on
love to,
things.
man.
Yeah, dope, dope. But this has been absolutely fantastic. Again, guys, go follow him right now. We need the support, okay? And even if we didn't, we'd love to have you. AB the Don Dada in the building. I'm Don Father signing off of the Peak. Until next time, guys. That was great. Thank you so much, man. You good?
I'm good, man. Yo, thank you so much for having me, bro. That was a blessing, man. It was a blessing and an honor. I can't express my gratitude enough.